about how to communicate, how to become better in making sure that your message is being understood. People even take courses for that. How to become effective communicator. It's a skill, it's an art, it's the way we understand what we mean, or the other person, we make them, make them understand what we mean by what we are saying. And aside from that, the body languages, the tone of the voice, using different words, different gesture, is all part of the communication. For example, if I'm in a country, if I can't speak their language, just by uttering the words or just by moving my hands in different feature, did I communicate? Did I communicate with the people around? Or just by writing an email in a very, very high, sophisticated words, sending a message to the person who is not familiar with those kind of words, did I communicate? Was I able to convey my message to the other person? If I go aggressively and I tell someone who is not familiar with the tone or with the culture where I'm living, or the part, the society, the group of the people I'm from, and their certain gestures or my face movements or my hand movements are done, is that normal for that society as well? The person on the other side, is it belonging to the same culture? Is he coming from the same side? Do they understand the meaning as I was trying to convey it to them? Or they took the meaning completely different, the way they thought, how their perspective was. So communication is again one of the most basic and the most important thing that we should master, especially people who are trying to become to the leadership, who is trying to manage big groups of people, who are trying to understand people, who are trying to take their businesses to the next level. Communication is one of the most important part, whether between the family, friends, social work, wherever. Without understanding what the other person understood from your conversation, communication could not occur. There's a common myth. Sometimes, you all go online and people often, you will hear them talking about that 7% is your verbal, 38% is your tone, and 55% is your body language. But this is not even a rule. If you really, really think about it, a lot of the things like today's world is happening via emails, via text. People are looking at videos, people are looking at things in writing. So our body languages is not really coming through those emails. It's not coming through those texts. That is why you can see there's a lot of confusion in between one person sending a message and the other person is completely getting mad or laughing at something which you're not supposed to laugh or you're not supposed to get mad at. The attitude or the mood of the other person was not conveyed through emoji or the way the sentence was written. So communication is way more sophisticated than that. Communication, by nature, in simple words, communication consists of three different things: the person who's sending the message itself, and the recipients who are receiving the message. Did the person convey the message in the best form of verbal words or physical body language or the tone of the voice? And was the message carried over in the right way to the person, to the recipient on the other side? And the last part is, did the recipient understand the message the way the sender sent it to him or her? So three things. If the person, recipient, is not paying attention to the person who's talking on the other side or is trying to communicate, you can miss a lot during the communication. The person said one thing, you understood something completely different. It is very, very normal. And you see that happening a lot. One person is saying the other thing, the other person is getting mad, one person is laughing, the other person is crying. It's all, majority of the time, is because of the miscommunication part, which basically brings us back to effective communication. How to communicate effectively with people, especially when knowing that all these problems occur. Like, how can we communicate better? What is the word communication in itself holds? Why is communication important? Like, for example, I was one day going out with my friend. we went for shopping and we were out in the market for a few hours. So in between somewhere, we got tired. So he asked me, he's like, how you feeling? And I looked at him. I was like, yeah, you know what? I'm always, whenever I go out with you, you get me really tired. And I didn't say anything after that. And we just kind of, we did the shopping, stayed there for some time, and then went home. So next couple of days, I did not hear anything from him, and then I was kind of worried. I'm like, I don't know what happened, so I decided to go to his house. When I got to his house, as we met, we're sitting down, and he's like, I'm so sorry about yesterday, and I'm like, why are you sorry? And then he's like, because yesterday I took you with me to the shopping, and you said you got really tired because of me. Now, I laughed at that sentence, and he looked at me. He's like, why are you laughing? So I'm like, I was just being sarcastic at that moment. I was just trying to say that, oh, okay, yeah, I'm so tired for this shopping. But he did not understand what I was trying to say through my tone of voice, because he wasn't used to seeing me, or in that tone of voice wasn't familiar to him, in a sense that I was being sarcastic. So when I said that to him, he took it seriously. He thought about it. He in fact decided to apologize for me getting tired. Me on the other side, I didn't even think about it. It was just a joke, and I'm at home relaxed. So I literally told him that. I'm like, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to say that. I was just being funny. But that's a pure form of miscommunication, because he didn't understand my gesture. I wasn't able to communicate properly. I automatically understood that he probably understand what I mean. And he understood something completely different, which I didn't mean. So a miscommunication occurred. You know how many times it happens in your families, in your coworkers, in your friends, when you're trying to say one thing but the other person got something completely different? Working in different working environment, I've seen emails, people getting mad through emails because the person, the way, the tones, the writing, the exclamation marks, the question marks, the usage of those words. Sometimes when you read those things, you don't even understand what the person is trying to say. And if you ask them, they'll be like, I communicated, I sent them an email, or I sent them a text, without realizing that the person properly understood the message that we were trying to convey. We cannot use the word communication. We did not communicate. We probably uttered some words. I mean, it's like me as an engineering student decide to go in front of a medical student and start talking about triple integration all of a sudden. I'm like, when you go for triple integration, you do this and this, and first you solve that, and all these sigma force and blah, 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 and then they're gonna look at me. So in my opinion, I am thinking that using all these nice, sophisticated, fancy words is okay, and this person sitting in front of me should just understand somehow automatically. So I am communicating from my side, while the other side, the person is not saying anything, or they might nod and they're like, yeah, they get it, just to give a persona, but there was no communication ever happened. What I was trying to communicate and what the other person understood were completely different things. I mean, so many times you will get into this thing in an argument because you said one thing and the other person understood something completely different. We must realize there's all sort of different communication, and I'm going to talk about it in my next episode as I go through them. The best way of communication, how effective communication takes place, what is the role of all these things combined, the way our tone works, the way we choose our words, the way we use our body language, the way we use our eyes. Like, for example, some cultures might not like it, when you look into their eyes and tell them something. They might consider that as a disrespect. They might like it when you have the eyes down and you're talking to them, and they consider it more respectful. But countries like America, Western cultures, if you're not looking, I mean, it is considered, when you're looking into someone's eyes and talking to them, it is considered more of a professionalism and a clean heart status, instead of thinking that the person is being rude or the person is being annoyed or trying to intimidate us in somehow. So without understanding the cultural differences, without understanding, with 3,000 languages in the world, and then on top of that you have slangs and so many these small languages within the town, You know how difficult it is to really understand what the person meant by using the same word? I mean, you can use the same word in so many different ways by changing your inflection point, by the tone of voice, and things will be completely different. You know, you'll say one thing, but the other person understands something completely different. I mean, without understanding the language barrier of those places, without understanding the audience who are we communicating with, without understanding the recipient's state of mind, without recipient understanding our state of mind, our perspective, without clarifying each other, like without asking questions and making sure that the other person did get the message what I was trying to convey, the communication never happened. I mean, we can write books all day long, but if it's not engaging, if it's not making sense, if it's not gripping the people that we are trying to send it to, there's no communication ever happened. It's the same thing just going into the mountains and just, you know, throwing paper up in the air and just leave them there. So communication involves understanding the perspective of the other person, the emotional intelligence, how you look at the surroundings, how you look at the body like normally body languages are much more helpful when the person is hiding some information or the person is deceiving some information. But then that also, like I said, it comes with cultural norms. Like some cultures might consider that you're lying if you have your eyes down, like Western cultures, and other cultures might consider that as a respectful sign when you have your eyes down. So there's so many different things. Without understanding the cultural norms, the language barriers, the body language positions, the gestures, the tone of the voice. Like I was sitting at the airport one day and I heard this couple of guys. There's a guy and his, I believe his mother, they were talking in very, very loud voice. So I looked at them once and twice because it was really loud. And then it was a coffee shop. So I looked on the other side and this guy smiled at me, who apparently was probably from the same country as they were from. So he looked at me and he was like, "This is how we talk. They're just talking some personal house stuff. There's nothing to worry about." So in my mind, I thought that they were literally arguing or fighting. But the guy clarified, who was apparently from the same country, understanding their language and their cultural norm and the whole 9 yard, told me that this is very normal for them. So I could be completely mistaken by the way they were talking, just because I didn't realize their cultural norms. I didn't realize what they're talking about. I didn't realize what their body language was, and I just jumped to the conclusion. So communication is the most important part of our life. I mean, once you have that skill, that's the art of communication, you can literally go on top of the sky is the limit. You can just keep on going. I mean, without knowing different form of communication, we cannot get to the effective communication part, which is basically all these successful people talk about. I will be talking about those different communication styles in the next coming episodes. They mainly divide in 4 different categories. There's different things, but mainly they're passive communication style, aggressive communication style. Then you kind of mix these two, which is more of a deceiving or a style of a passive aggressive combination of communication. And then the most effective style, which I was trying to talk about all this in communication part, is basically your assertive communication. How we are able to use the proper tone of word. I mean, in communication, how we use the proper tone of word, the proper language, understanding the cultural norm, understanding the audiences, understanding who we are communicating, and then making sure that the person understood the message the way we wanted to convey or what we meant by that. That is a proper form of effective communication, and the best way to do is by using assertive communication. However, we'll talk about these things in the next 4 episodes. I'll be dividing them at 4 different categories, so stay tuned. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me. I love to answer any questions. Hopefully we can be better communicator. You guys take care. I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye.